Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Asad Yaqub from Lahore, Pakistan once again, and we are going to start off with IELTS speaking module, and I welcome you from my classroom, and I'm surrounded by my students. Very happy faces, smiling faces, some are even laughing and some are struggling with their laughter and all that, and they are very happy because they are going to go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, what else? USA, okay, and sooner or later they are going to reach their destination, and destiny is going to take them there. So we are preparing for IELTS, and I thought I should record my class. In the past also I recorded some classes, and some of the students online, they appreciated that. And today we are going to start with speaking module. Speaking can be first or last module in your IELTS. First, they can conduct this test before your reading, writing, listening, or it can be conducted after. Sometimes it is conducted at the same point. If you travel to take your test, then they conduct it the same day. But otherwise they conduct it before or after, a day after or before a day, and all that. Now listen. In IELTS speaking, you can get good band score provided you have good understanding of English and provided you are able to speak good English. When I say you are able to speak good English, it means your English should be correct. Your English should be understandable, and the vocabulary which you are using, that should be appropriate vocabulary. In IELTS, sometimes there are two modules where vocabulary really matters. These two modules are speaking and writing. In writing, you need good vocabulary. What happened to you?
Nothing.
You're so sad. You're making me sad also, okay? I extract energy from the students, so your feelings will overpower me as well, okay? So smile.
No, I felt I was late in class.
You were late in class. No, you are never late. We were waiting for you actually, okay? So you are early for the next class, okay? Alright, where are you planning to go to?
I'm planning to go to Australia.
Australia. So you need a happy face for Australia, right? Yeah, okay. So anyways, we're talking about that. In speaking and in writing, you need vocabulary. Actually, it's not, vocabulary does not mean the difficult words or the words which are unknown to you, or the words which are not common words, uncommon words, not at all. It means appropriate words. Now, if I'm talking about my hometown, I should know the appropriate words to talk about my hometown. If I am talking about my hobby, I should have appropriate words to talk about my hobby. Now, it doesn't mean if I'm telling you about my hobby, I'm using very difficult words, and sometimes even, nobody knows everything. Even examiners don't understand some of the words you learn, and I promise, I swear, these words will never get you good band score. Good band score comes when you use appropriate words with appropriate language. Then definitely you'll be getting good band score. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult, right? So now you understand what type of vocabulary you have to improve. Appropriate vocabulary. And keep in mind, in IELTS speaking, now these are the general tips for IELTS speaking. Remember one thing, in IELTS speaking, there should not be repetition. Right? I mean, examiner in part 1, examiner will ask you some questions on the same topic. So there should not be the repetition that you are repeating the same words again and again. In part 2 also, there should not be the repetition of same words, same phrases, same sentences, same ideas. You need to learn how to say one thing in 5 different ways. For that, I give you a wonderful tip. Shumaila, she shares certain things on our website. We've got a Facebook page as well, and there she shares one thing. I like that very much, and that can help you. That is other ways to say I am sorry. Other ways to say thank you. Other ways to say this, and there is a list of 10 sentences, and then you can learn, okay, you can say I am thankful to you, thank you very much, I am grateful to you, I can't thank you enough. There are so many ways. So you need to learn vocabulary like this. Other ways of, now for example, if you give your topic tourism, Now you need to come up with the ideas that what is the vocabulary which is related to tourism. Tourism, travel, tourist, airline, tickets, places, and the words like that. So you need to have that appropriate vocabulary. Once you have appropriate vocabulary, you can always get good band. What do you think about my vocabulary? It's so simple. I mean, every time I speak English, you understand. It never happened with you that if I used any difficult word and all that. With this English, I got 8 bands in IELTS speaking. So if I can get this, you can get this. But the thing is, your language should be correct, appropriate words with good ideas, and then you can just do that. So in IELTS speaking, there are 3 sections. Section 1, section 2, and section 3. Mashallah, you're all very intelligent. You know it already. Section 3. See, he knows it. Wow, magic, huh? Great. So first section 1, after section 1 we have section 2, and after section 2 we have, see that? You guys are intelligent. Very nice. Okay, just kidding. Section 1 is basically the basic section. There they want to see, as we say in Punjabi, inu Angreji aundi vi hai ke nahi. That's what they want to see in section 1. And sometimes, remember one thing, there is a warning for all of you. In IELTS speaking as well as in IELTS writing, if you give them a crammed answer, crammed means you learnt it already, you learnt it by heart. If you give them a crammed answer in IELTS writing as well as in IELTS speaking, and examiners, they always get to know that this is the crammed answer. So once you give them the crammed answer, your band score will go down. Okay, whether there is a crammed sentence or 2, 3, 4 sentences together in your writing, right? So that's why do not try to put the flowery sentences. Just speak whatever comes out naturally. So do not prepare any answers. Do not learn any answers. Do not cram any answer. Just listen to the examiner and answer the question. I mean, for example, we're all sitting here. If I talk to you about your hobbies, you can answer my questions. If I talk to you about your free time activities, you can answer my question. If I ask you about your favorite films, you can answer. Your favorite music, you can answer. This is how, it's just a conversation. And take it as a conversation with the examiner. We take it as a test with the examiner. And when we take it as a test, and oh God, it's test, and you know, when you go there, there's a lot of pressure and all that. So take it as a conversation with the examiner, a friendly conversation, because they're going to ask you some friendly questions and you have to answer those friendly questions. Now, let's just go on. In speaking part 1, we are going to evaluate some of the questions and we're going to see how you're going to answer. The most important or the most common questions are about your hometown, about your hobbies, free time, okay, hometown, hobbies, some questions about education and all that. Now remember one thing, whatever the question is, regardless of the fact, whatever the question is, the first thing is you have to be willing to answer the question. Right? If I ask you any question, if you are willing to answer the question, you will answer the question immediately. But sometimes, you know, we are not willing. So the first thing is willingness. Willingness means whatever the question is, I will answer. Right? Number 2, you have to be ready to answer every question. Even if you have the actual genuine answer or you don't have actual genuine answer, you are willing to answer every question. Right? For example, if I ask you a question, why was your last film flopped? Why was your last film flopped? And you say, well, I don't make any films. Oh, my last film flopped. Actually, the story was not very strong and my acting was quite powerful in that movie. Yes, you could see me in that movie. But still, you know, the songs were quite boring and I think the filming was not done very well. So because of the director and producer, my last film flopped. I don't work in movies, but I answered the question. Whatever the question is, you have to answer. Right? And you have to answer according to the question. Don't just think, okay, now let me think. When you say, okay, now let me think, by the time you start getting a real answer from the real life situation, then the time is gone and then you are confused and you don't know anything. If the question is what is your favorite color, whether it is blue, green, orange, red, yellow, you don't need to think, right? If you say what's your favorite color, my favorite color is orange. I like orange color very much. Whenever summer comes, I wear orange t-shirts, and in winter I love eating oranges also because orange is of orange color and that is my favorite color. But it should be a serious talk according to the topic, and in part 1 you should give answer in 4-5 sentences. One thing, do not give indirect answer. They ask you a question, what's your favorite color? That's a nice question. I like that question. I was actually expecting that question. So let me answer. This is all irrelevant. Number 1. Number 2, as you start your answer, don't pick up any direction and then you go there. For example, my favorite color is orange because I like oranges very much. Orange is a winter fruit, and in my country there are many oranges and we eat oranges whenever winter comes. People like orange juice very much, and I also love orange juice. What was the topic? Favorite color. And I've gone somewhere else, right? So this is a very, very common virus in the students. What's the virus? The virus is they start talking about one thing, then they go on, and at the end they realize what was the question. Right? So you don't need to do that. And do not give a long answer in part 1. If the answer, for example, if they say, are you a student or a professional? What is the answer? Student. You don't need to say some people are students, some are professionals. Professionals have their life, students have their life. I am a student. Okay, not like that. This question is the first question. When they start the test, they are going to ask you. This is another thing. Before the test, the way you feel is very, very important. Very important. If you feel nervous, if you feel confused, if you feel like you are not in yourself, you are out of breath or anything, right? Don't allow the examiner to start the test. You cannot interrupt the examiner in the middle of the test. But before they start, they will ask you a question. Are you ready for the test? And if you are ready, then say, otherwise say, just please give me 2 minutes. And they can even offer you some water as well. You can drink some water and all that. One of my students, she appeared in IELTS in Faisalabad, and the test was conducted by British Council. What happened there? The students are very nervous, very confused and all that. She reached there an hour before. And it's a good idea to reach there some time before, right? For example, if your test timing is 11 a.m., don't reach there at 4 a.m. It's a test, okay, not something else where you reach before time. So if the test timing is 11, you reach there at 10:30 or 10 o'clock so that you could observe and absorb the environment. Sometimes the environment is new, people are new and you are afraid, you don't know. But after 20 minutes, after half hour, you get used to it. Right? So that's why I reached there early. And what happened, I was telling you about that student. She appeared in Faisalabad from British Council, and for the speaking test they arranged in a hotel, and they relaxed the students in a very good way. They said, okay, your test here, sit down, just relax. Do you need some water? We will start the test after an hour. Your time is after an hour. In the meantime, you can sit here. If you want to take a round of the hotel, feel free to go anywhere and your test will start. Don't worry at all. And she said, I was so relaxed because they just talk like that. And when I took my IELTS, what happened with me, it was again from British Council. There was a room, it was winter, and they not locked actually, they kept all the candidates in that room. Right? Now imagine a room, 10 to 15 participants are sitting there, door is closed and all are scared. Right? Okay. And then after some time the door opened and they said, Muhammad Tariq, yes, I'm Tariq. Come on, it's your test. Now other 14 are sitting, and okay, anytime the door will open and they will just come and say, and then they started talking, nowadays speaking is very difficult. Nowadays they are not giving any band. Then again door opened, right, and it was the next chicken. Okay, they just said that. Then they called my name, I went. So there it can be some pressurizing situation. So if there is any negative feeling or you are overwhelmed by any negative feeling, fast heartbeat, fast breathing and all that, don't allow them to start the test. Even you can take some time because of the medical reasons. You can drink some water, go out in the open air, take a little walk. When you feel good, come back. One of my students, he appeared in IELTS. The speaking room was upstairs. And when his turn, you know, some people are very much alert and active. Say, Asad Yaqub, yes, I'm Asad Yaqub, yeah. Please sir, come for you. Oh, I'm coming, okay. And he was climbing the stairs very quickly. When he reached up there, he was like, it's natural. When you climb the stairs, it's natural. And in the same state of mind, the examiner started the test, and then he was confused in the beginning. So you need to take care of all these things, right? Part 1 clear? Listen to the question, answer in 4-5 sentences. Okay. Now in part 2, they will give you a topic and they will give you a minute and they will give you a piece of paper and pencil. You don't need to bring anything, by the way. For speaking test, only your identity, that's it. You don't need to bring any pen, pencil, paper and all that. Just go there along with your ID card and all that. They will provide you the paper and pencil to write down the notes. The topic is in front of you. 1 minute time will be given. You can take a look at the topic. You can write some notes. After 1 minute, you'll have to speak. So if you think you really want to write some notes, you can write the notes. But if you think you can go on without the notes, even there is no problem. Because when you are speaking, the topic will be in front of you. You can take a look at the topic, go on with the next point, then take a look at the topic, go on with the next point. But when you take a look at the topic, do not read. For example, you start and say, okay, and why do you like it very much? Yes, I like it very much. And when do you go there? I go there quite. Don't read. Just take a look, okay, that's the next thing, and then start talking and all that. You will not have any watch for your speaking part 2. And in speaking part 2, how long do you have to speak? 2 minutes maximum, 1 minute minimum. And you don't have any way of noticing that 2 minutes are gone or not. So that is why I advise my students to speak unless examiner stops you, or until you are interrupted by the examiner, and examiner will give you a gesture, finish it here. And sometimes if you are speaking before a minute, the examiners, good examiners, here we've got very good examiners in British Council and AEO, they always tell you to speak more. And when 2 minutes or 1 minute time is over, then they give you a gesture to finish. So when they give you a gesture, conclude your talk. Do not finish any answer abruptly, that you are talking and you finish. No, even if the examiner gives you a gesture, conclude your talk within few seconds and then finish. All clear? So in speaking, you need to practice. Let me tell you one thing. When it comes to IELTS speaking part 2, and when it comes to speaking English, 2 minutes is a long time. When you are talking to somebody, 2 hours is a short time. You never notice how my package muk bhi gaya, or something like that. Yeah, you are talking, and sometimes what happens, you are talking, some people have the night packages, 11 o'clock they change their SIM card and all that, then they are talking, and in the morning they hear the birds chirping, and they look outside the window, oh hi, it's morning outside, something like that. I'm telling you, okay, not experience, observation, okay. Yes, it's just the observation. So from the sparrows they get to know that it's morning and all that stuff. So but when you speak English, you speak too much, and after that you realize, yes, I have spoken for 2 minutes, and when you check the time, it's only 30 seconds, 40 seconds. So you need to practice at home, and you need to have a mental timer that, okay, now I think I have spoken for more than 1 minute. If you have spoken for more than 1 minute, you are safe, no problem. But if it is less than a minute, you will be penalized, right? And examiner will not allow you to speak more than 2 minutes. Clear? So for part 2, there is no problem. Topic will be in front of you. It's always a description. It will start with describe. And then there will be WH questions, what, where, why, who, and all that stuff, right? After that, we've got part 3. And part 3 is discussion. In part 3, sometimes there is the misunderstanding of the questions, and sometimes some students do not understand the question. 1 or 2 questions are tricky, which you do not understand. Sometimes the questions are long enough. All right, examiner is asking you question. For example, in part 1, the question is, what is your favorite color? The same question in part 3 will be asked like, what type of colors are there that you mostly like to use? What type of colors are there that, okay, what do you do in your free time? Part 1 question. In part 3, the same question. What sort of activities are there that you prefer doing whenever you have some free time at the weekend? And in part 3, what happens? The examiner asks a question. You are listening. When examiner finishes the question, you have like this. What was that? You don't understand, because examiner is asking and you are thinking about the answer. That okay, how would I answer this question? So in part 3, if you do not understand any question, ask the examiner, will you please repeat the question? Politely and softly and gently, will you please repeat the question? And they will repeat the question, same wording, same tone. Do not ask the examiner to elaborate the question, to explain the question. They will never do that, right? And do not ask any counter question. Do not say, okay, I don't understand this question. What do you mean? What do you want to ask? Don't just, their questions are very clear. Very, very clear, and you can give a clear answer to those questions. So you don't need to ask anything like that. Yeah.
So how many times do they repeat a question?
Twice maybe, not more than, and not with every question. Not with every question. Yeah. One of my students, he was very clever. He found a secret way of getting some extra time to think about answer in IELTS speaking part 1 and 3. And what was that? He said, sir, after every question I said, will you please repeat the question? And the examiner repeated the question, and that gave me some time to think about the question. And then second question, will you please repeat the question? And the examiner repeated the question, that gave me some time to think about the answer. And he used this secret technique, and the guy got 4.5 in speaking.
Is it a negative gesture?
It's a negative gesture to ask every time.
But for once or twice?
Once or twice it's okay. In section 3 it's okay. But if you're asking after every question, or there is another one, another clever student, he said, well, after every question, give your feedback about the question. That is a very interesting question. I'm glad you asked me this question. I already wanted to answer this question, so let me start. Okay, you say these 4-5 sentences and then you have enough time to think about it. So don't do any clever thing with the examiner, because that is going to play with fire. So they will give you the low band score for that.
Another question, our answers are recorded, or they give us?
They are recorded. Your answers are recorded, and they give you band score when they are hearing your answer. That recording is only for the record, for future. If, for example, you say, I'm not happy with my band score, and you apply for re-evaluation, then they will give that audio to some other examiner and they will check it and all that. They keep all the records for 2 years, because the validity of IELTS test is 2 years, so that's why they keep all. Okay, so in part 3, understand the question and then answer the question. And remember one thing, try to read as many IELTS speaking part 1 questions as possible. As many questions as possible. I give you the handouts. You've got questions in your book, so try to read as many questions as possible. You know what will happen? When you read a lot of questions, your brain will produce the answers, and when you go there, they will ask you a question, say, I know the answer, already I answered that. Now, for example, if I ask you, what's your favorite food? And you tell me like this, shawarma, because you told me last week many times, you like shawarma. For example. Now, if okay, all right. Why did you tell me you came to Pakistan to eat shawarma only? Okay. So the thing is this, if nobody ever asked you this question, somebody asks you, what do you do when you are free? And you say, I never thought about it. Nobody ever asked me about it. Then you have to create a fresh answer. So that's why try to read as many questions as possible for speaking part 1, as many cue cards as possible for speaking part 2, right? And as many questions as possible for speaking part 3. When they ask you a question, you say, yeah, I know the answer already. So these are some of the things, right? And thank you very much indeed, right? We'll do some practice now in the class. I'm thankful to you. I'm sure these tips would help you with your IELTS exam as well. So if you have any comment or any question, you can just comment, and definitely I'll try to answer your question. That's all for now. If you like this video, hit on the like button, and don't forget to subscribe my channel Asad Yaqub, and I've got another channel, Asad Yaqub Vlog. And I also teach IELTS online. If you want to join my online IELTS classes, or if you want to come to Pakistan, Lahore to join my live class, so you can be the part of my live class as well. Thank you very much. Asad Yaqub wishes you all the best. Take good care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.